Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuque,
David Wynn,
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in any market. Hey, today, guys, David's got an amazing guest for us. David, who'd you bring along today?
man, I brought Keith from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, a transplant from New York City, and a great
New York City?
Yeah. He has a story, man. He's an ex PD. Police officer. We definitely want to get in that a little bit, but we definitely want to talk about his real estate journey and how you got here. So it's Keith.
Let's go. Hey, Keith. So welcome
Morning,
on,
guys.
Brother. We're super excited to have you here. We know who you are, but tell our followers a little bit about you. Where'd you come from originally? I heard New York. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so not New York City. Don't confuse me with the city folk. Grew up in the suburb of the city of Long Island, Farmingdale, and met my wife just a little over 14 years ago, and we settled down in a nice little town in North Massapequa. I was a New York City police officer from 2006 till 2017. I got hurt and unfortunately had to cut my career a little short. Got my real estate license a long time ago. About 2004, I guess, is when my first career, experience with real estate started. And very soon after that, we all know what happened in 2008. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall because, along with some real estate, I was doing some contracting and, people were getting money in some strange ways. So I took the police test and that's when I became a cop and let that real estate license kind of lapse. But when I got hurt, I went right back to getting my license, and I've been a full-time agent ever since, and just loving it.
Well, brother, we appreciate your service, and we're glad that you're over in this space now, safe and secure, doing real estate. Hopefully, there's not too many opportunities to get hurt in this job, right?
I mean, there's always that one step you don't see on the way down, right? So you do run the risk of tripping, but no, it's a far cry from what I used to do. I'm not going to paint the picture of a New York City cop as a Green Beret. It's not like that. But yeah, I worked in a fairly dangerous neighborhood, Brownsville, Brooklyn, for the first 7.5 years. A little mile and a quarter square of real estate with nothing but housing projects, and I think led the city in homicides and all the major 7 felonies and all that. So saw my fair share. Real estate is a far cry from that. Until you get a low ball offer as a seller, and then you think the world's crashing. So, but I love what I do. It's still that service mentality. I think that's why, and there's a lot of us that transferred from or transitioned from that type of civil service into real estate. There's quite a number of us nationwide, and I think it's all because of that service mentality.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. You're out there helping people and you go, man, what other industry can I do that in? But maybe make a little bit more money, right? And I think real estate's a great opportunity for that. That's awesome. And you did the work for the city. You did some great things. I'm confident in that. I've got a chance to get to know you a little bit in the green room. And at the end of the day, like I said, we're happy to have you over here in this space because you're doing some great things out there. And we'd love to talk about that. So let's talk about that transition, because you did real estate in New York, but you're not in New York anymore. Where are you at right now?
So I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is known for anybody that's a golfer or loves to vacation at the beach and doesn't want to go all the way down to Florida. Myrtle Beach has been the golf mecca of the East Coast for so long, but where our area is so much bigger than Myrtle Beach. It's within Horry County. The H is silent for everybody relocating to this area. Please understand the H is silent. I mean, for obvious reasons. But anyway, Horry County is the size of Rhode Island, right?
My man.
Yeah, you just got that one, David. I saw you. You're a little late to the party, but you got it. I got it.
It took me a second, too.
So it's the size of Rhode Island. Horry County is a large piece of real estate. And it really does encompass a lot of different types of purchases. And so transitioning from Long Island, which is, for all intents and purposes, residential, a suburb of New York City, and as residential can get, and a mix of different neighborhoods, but I'll say the word again, residential. Myrtle Beach, not just residential, and for a long time the market wasn't known for its residential. It was
Right.
known for its beachfront condos and hotels, and having to introduce our out of market buyers to the word condotel, and why it's called a condotel and why that requires special financing and
Right.
a whole education. Then you've got your just off the beach but short-term rental properties, and the HOA fees associated with it, what's included, and I'm two or three different types of properties deep, and then I'll tell you about our second home market, which will encompass a single family home. So here I've talked for a couple of minutes, mentioned 3 or 4 different types of property, and single family homes is not at the top. So it was a totally different market to learn.
Yeah, it's definitely an adaptation, but at the same time, you sound like the kind of person that's willing to jump in and figure it out, and you've done that, which is how you're out there helping guide customers, into what's right for them. And I think that's important. That's one of the reasons we brought you on, is when you're working with a realtor, you want to make sure that they're an expert in their industry and understand their market. And in just that 2 to 3 minutes that you're talking there, you've helped our viewers, right? People that maybe have never been to Myrtle Beach, have an understanding as to it's a different real estate market out there. And if you're going to purchase a home there, you need to be paired up with somebody that can help you find the right property that's going to fit your needs. And it sounds like you've got a lot of vacationers that are spending some time there, but you do have some locals too that live there in Myrtle as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love our local residents, and the true locals, not the the transplant locals like myself. The true locals. There are not many. The OGs. There are not many. I have a joke that if I ever meet them, I always ask for their autograph. But they're an integral part of this as well, and they're also a lot. They can't be forgotten. Like in this real estate boom that we've had in the last couple of years. This real estate boom has priced, a lot of different buyers out of real estate, first-time home buyers, veterans, and you could say the same for our local Horry County buyers. We don't have a very high average income. We don't have a lot of tech industry with those, 6-figure salaries. So as much as we've seen some tremendous real estate appreciation, a lot of that is on the backs of our relocated, new residents who brought a ton of equity down from the sale up in the Northeast and were able to lay all that money down on a high price piece of real estate. Yes, that benefits everybody. When you have high price real estate, that benefits everybody. But we want to be careful and make sure that we never forget, how can we help our local population too that doesn't have that. And I'm one of them. I'm one of them. I've growing up, there was just enough change on the nightstand to put gas in the car to go to work in Brooklyn. I know and remember that all too well. I've never lived a life of limitless abundance, and not that I do today either at all. But it wasn't even in the cards. So but I was able to get my first house under the guidance of a experienced lender and a very experienced real estate agent, and that was when I started to really develop wealth and the ability to move up. And it was all because of that purchase of my first house. So.
Well, that's awesome, brother. And, we love to hear that because, to have somebody out there that's conscious of the local market and actually, not in it to just say, hey, look, I want to make a ton of money. And, who cares about the people that brought this city up? You actually care about that. And that's amazing to see that, right? You are a local, even though you're not from there originally, you care about the community. And I think that's huge. And you're right. When you get a beautiful town like Myrtle Beach and you get that tech money coming in, it certainly can drive up home prices. And unfortunately, sometimes that drives some of those residents into a situation where tax rates go up and maybe they can't afford the home that they once loved to live in. So, man, brother, I love that you bring that up because it's a topic out there I don't think a lot of people tackle,
Yeah. It's in the small circle of realtors that I stay in close contact with locally, as well as my national referral network, that's a topic that we talk about all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
As someone who I may not be as listing heavy in my business as I want to be right now, it's a tough market to get listings in. But my market especially is so populated with new construction,
Yeah.
and these new construction neighborhoods have, just an immense amount of firing power in their corner. They have a lot of clout, a lot of power in their corner. And what I mean by that
Yeah.
is, these new home builders, they've either partnered with a preferred lender, or they,
Mhm.
within their corporation, have a preferred lender. And that, having those two together, they gobble up a whole bunch of upfront discount points, which then they're able to advertise as incentives to new home buyers. And we know nothing's free. If somebody's offering
That's right.
$12,500 in closing costs, we know that's not free. It's built into the pricing somewhere, right?
It is. Yeah.
But the buyer gets a brand new house. Nothing's better than new smell, right?
That's
With
right.
a $12,000 credit that they can use for anything. Oh, and by the way, because they built and bought all those upfront discount points, they're not playing in the realm of the 8% rate. They're offering,
That's right.
6.5 to 7, and then you can
Yeah.
use that upfront incentive to buy your rate down even lower. So what am I saying? Like, in a resale market where I'm a listing agent, for John Q homeowner at 123 Main Street. I'm not a listing
Yeah.
agent for ABC Home Builders with a market of 100 homes on the market. So
Yeah.
my home seller doesn't have that ability to offer those incentives. And on top of that, I'll be the one to say it. I know about the class action lawsuit in NAR. These new builders are offering those incentives to buyer agents too. I can't tell you. I mean, I have a listing right now in Conway. Beautiful home on a pond with a fountain view in the back, in a great neighborhood, easily accessible to Coastal Carolina University, the downtown Conway Historic District, plenty of shopping, restaurants, everything you can want. It's priced at 305, and I'm losing the new construction. New construction
Yeah.
priced above that because the builder's offering the buyer the incentives and the agent 5% real estate commission.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do I can't, real estate commission, in case anybody doesn't know, it's paid for through the transaction. So seller proceeds.
Of
So,
course.
if I ask them to up the percentage they're going to give to a buyer's agent, I'm theoretically asking them to take more money out of their pocket to pay the agent.
Yeah. Yeah.
The builders
That's
are doing that.
Yeah, they're
it's
definitely
a hard market.
directing traffic in one lane, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like there's a bit of a monopoly going on in Myrtle Beach.
Well, no, not monopoly. I mean, listen, they're all competing against themselves, right? It's
Right.
like two different markets. So they're competing against themselves, but in our market, and where we keep focused on our local population is built by the people who are trying to sell their homes. And so the only way to sell their homes and compete against stuff like that, you got to be good at what you do. You got to be good at what you do.
And you are, and that's 100% why we wanted to have you here, because again, if you've got a representative like yourself that cares, somebody that understands the challenges that the homeowner is up against, you can lead them well and help them, accomplish that sale where others can't, because they just don't know the challenges they're up against. So,
Right.
Well, I'd love to ask a question, because again, not everybody knows Myrtle Beach, but it sounds like a beautiful place to be. Let's talk a little bit about that. You've mentioned the different types of properties that are available out there, but what's that home life look like in Myrtle Beach?
So, we have a neighborhood for every lifestyle, right? You could be, as the crow flies, like my neighborhood right now, we're about 4.5 miles to the beach as the crow flies. In my neighborhood, we've got 2 pools, lazy river, splash pad for the kid, 32-acre lake to take a paddle boat into or canoe and go fishing, a fishing pier right in my neighborhood. HOA fee is $100 a month, maintains all that stuff. Heck of a lifestyle you could have, right? We've got non-HOA neighborhoods where it doesn't cost you the $100 a month. You don't have those amenities, and you're maybe a little further away from the beach, but you're talking another 5 minutes in the car. You've got senior living, 55 and over communities. Del Webb has two phenomenal 55 and over communities, one in Myrtle and one in North Myrtle. We've got one. It's kind of cool. It's a 55 and over community that's in Conway called Myrtle Trace, and this is a neighborhood that was built in the late 70s, early 80s, and it was like the quintessential first attraction of Northeast money for retirees to the Myrtle Beach or Conway area. Right? It's no more than a couple of miles away from my house right now. Well, back then, pickup trucks were like Jed Clampett mobiles, right? They were farm vehicles. So the
Right.
HOA actually wrote a rule into their bylaws that you are not allowed to have a pickup truck in your driveway overnight. Well,
Wow.
you and I know you could go out and buy an F-150 for about $75,000 right now. And
That's right.
most of those pickup trucks are a lot nicer than some sedans on the road. That rule is still in effect. You can't leave a pickup truck in the driveway in that neighborhood. I had a client tell me from New York once that bought in there, I'm going to change that rule. He used to have a Silverado. He now drives a Tahoe.
Love it.
So
I love it.
yeah, it's pretty cool. The different nuances of neighborhoods and lifestyles. Our beachfront is phenomenal. We've got high-rise hotels right on the beach, which each one of those units inside that building is an individually owned condo. I mentioned the name before. It's called a condotel. It's a condo that operates like a hotel with a front desk and amenities, resort amenities, everything you can imagine. Great short-term rental options for those investors that want to do something like that. We've got farms further inland. I mean, we've got such an array. Any lifestyle you want to live, you can live it here.
So there's something for everybody.
Well, a lot of people
There
don't know
is.
this, but Myrtle Beach just made the top 10 list of I think it's number 6 of people moving to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Number 6 in the nation, it's a small town. I think you named a bunch of reasons what the appeal is, but talk to us about the economics of it. I mean, it's you kind of alluded earlier. There's no industries there. What are the people doing when they move there?
Well, so there's no, I wouldn't say there's no
Yeah.
industries, but, there's plenty of opportunities.
Sure.
COVID taught us that you can work from anywhere, right? So who doesn't
That's right.
want to work with an ocean view? So a
Sure.
lot of work from home employees have made the Myrtle Beach area their home for that reason, because our weather is fantastic. Your views out of your back door are fantastic, and our taxes. I mean, I almost don't want to talk about it because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But I mean, I'll put it to you like this. What I pay a year in property taxes is just a little bit more than I used to pay monthly on Long Island. So I used to pay about $12,000 a year on a house that was built in 1956 on a 60 by 40 lot. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And I paid about 12 grand a year in property taxes. I'm paying on a much larger home. Our family has grown, so our home has grown. On a home that was built 2 years ago on a little larger lot with a beautiful pond in the back. And my taxes are right around $2,000 a year. So
That's crazy.
I mean, it's just amazing. Even as a second homeowner or investment, it's all based upon sale price. So we're 2/3 lower as a residential owner in property taxes than a second homeowner or investment property owner would pay. So really, I mean, when you come down to think about even between $6,000 and $7,000 for a $500,000 purchase, that's still not bad in property taxes.
Well, Keith, you may not know it, but I just texted my wife, and we're moving to Myrtle. So, brother, let me get that number. I'm going to need a realtor. Yeah,
I got you covered.
My man. Well, guys and gals, think about that. At the end of the day, he's right. If COVID has taught us anything, we don't have to work in an office space anymore. In fact, we just rolled out a virtual office yesterday. There's a program out there called Roam in beta, and it allows for you to build virtual office spaces so that you can still have the feel of an office, despite having employees that are plugged in and located all over the United States. And why not have the ocean front as the backyard? And again, Keith just said it, there's something for everybody, whether you want to be out on the farm, want to be in the city, want to be right there on the beach. or if you want to be in a beautiful neighborhood that's full of amenities that allows you to do anything, or if you're retiring, I think you need to call Keith, man, because
Absolutely.
he's got some opportunities for you.
I got you covered. I got you covered.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Keith, we haven't talked about it, but let's talk a little bit about the experience. So I'm a customer and I'm either local or I'm long distance, and I'm thinking about moving to the Myrtle area, or I'm in the Myrtle area, and I call you. What's that look like? Is it just you over there? Do you have a team? What's your process, sir?
Just me. I'm a solo agent, but I'm brokered by the number one brokerage, number one in the world. Nobody sells more real estate than Remax, but
That's
even
right.
more hyper local. The best brokerage at the beach, Remax Southern Shores, multiple locations. Just picked up another location in the Charleston area a couple of weeks ago. So we have 2 in the Charleston area, one right here in Myrtle Beach, known as the Carolina Forest office. One in North Myrtle Beach, one in Conway, one in Florence, which is a little further inland. So we've got you covered. Owned by some of the greatest people I know, just who I want to be when I grow up, right? That's why I'm here with Remax Southern Shores. But I am a solo agent, and I have incredible tools given to me by Remax that are laid at your feet, at your disposal as my client, and makes the process seamless.
We've heard that before too. We had one of your favorite agents on a while back. What was his name? Wore the red shirt with him, had all the branded stuff.
Oh, Montre Deal.
No, not Montre. This is another one, man. Hispanic guy. Way back. Funny, really funny. Brought the props.
Oh, I can't even think of his name.
We have so many guests you
Yeah.
forget. Hey, that's okay. No, he was amazing, and he said the exact same thing about Remax. He said that's my brand. I'm not going anywhere else. I love this company because they provide all the tools, and it sounds like if you're in Myrtle Beach and you're looking for representation, Keith and Remax are definitely the right brand. And maybe if you're an agent and looking for a home, Remax is a good opportunity for you as well. So,
yep.
I make that phone call, Keith, and I say, hey, I want to do, I'm looking at relocating. What is that experience? Let's say I'm in Texas, right?
Yeah.
And I can't make the drive or fly out within the next couple of weeks, but I want to move in the next 2 months. Right? What does that feel like, right? How do you walk that person through the Myrtle Beach experience?
Let me introduce you to something. This is the cell phone. And on this piece of machinery, this thing is incredible. Okay, I have taken people and set this cell phone up on my holder in my car, and I set the camera facing outwards, and I pretend like they're sitting in the passenger seat right next to me.
I love it.
I take them for a tour right in the neighborhood. They're getting to see the houses around them. They're getting to see the cars parked in the driveways and the houses that are around them. Very key point. Always want to see what cars are parked in the driveways. And
apparently no trucks in the retirement community.
Depends. Yeah, I don't show a lot of houses after 11 o'clock. So, but so yeah, there's that feeling of immediately being with me in the car.
Yeah,
driving in the neighborhood. I try to bring as much of the neighborhood and home and community as well to the person while they're sitting on the other side of their screen in Texas or wherever it is they're coming from. Because once they get here, we're going to do it kind of all over again so that they're here in person, but it means a lot more. It makes a lot more sense. They're recognizing things. They're seeing, now they're tangibly understanding the distances, and it just makes for such a clearer experience. But I don't do any of that until I figure out the why. What's the reason for the why? What's the reason for the move? What is their why? So there's an extensive conversation that goes on. As you can tell through this podcast, I can talk, for hours. But, I try to develop a relationship right away. I don't work with people that I don't trust, and I don't expect them to work with me if they don't trust me. So that is the most important part of a transaction, is the relationship with the client. And that's the part I love. I mean, that is the part that I love more than anything. I mean, I've been in so many homes and condos that it's not just about that. It's not just about closing day. Yes, I use the money to, put food on the table for the kids and pay for the college fund. But that transactional relationship, that initial introduction and getting to know the why, and then feeling the satisfaction of knowing it got them exactly what they were looking for, helped them through the entire process, and then they referred me, which is the number one compliment.
100%. Well, brother, you've kind of laid out the pieces now, and I think let's paint that picture real quick. So, if it's, the condo lifestyle that you're looking for, or if it's the beachfront, or like you said, the countryside, all those areas. And so you're taking that time during the fact finding in the initial part of the call to find out why they want to be there, what it is that they're looking for. And we already know, that community like the back of your hand. And so once you've identified what their needs are and their why, now you're putting them in the passenger seat and you're taking them for a drive to show them exactly what that life would look like. So if you're out there and looking for that long distance move, never fear. Keith has a process for that. And man, brother, that's why you're having so much success, because what we've found is great agents or great loan originators have great processes, and that's what drives that success. And we appreciate you taking the time to share that process with us, because you didn't just share it with Dave and I, you just shared that with followers who may have that interest in, man, I'm thinking about Myrtle Beach, but how do I get started? I think it's a pretty easy answer. Pick up the phone and call Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Good
great.
stuff, man.
I definitely got you covered.
Well, brother, I know we always like to explore this. And in fact, I'm going to have David hit you with one of our famous questions, brother. David, let's tackle something with Keith. What do you got for us today?
I got one question before we let him go. Keith, thus far in your real estate career, what's the one achievement or moment that you're most proud of?
It's actually right there. There's an award back on that case behind me. It's the Above the Crowd award. I won it in 2021, a couple of years ago, and it was something that I had no idea that I was even in the running to win. I was nominated by my peers, my broker, and the owner of Remax Southern Shores. It was a Southeast Regional Award, and it highlighted not just my success in the real estate industry, but that work-life balance. I'm also the president of a 501c3 organization here in South Carolina called Smoking Shields South Carolina, which is a national organization that I'm, gratefully the president of their local chapter, and I've made Remax part of that. It's how I developed my national referral network, because we're a national organization. I got on the phone and talked to Remax agents from those locations where the other chapters are. I set those chapters up with a trusted agent that could help in, sponsoring events that they're throwing and fundraisers, and be there to help. And what Smoking Shields is all about is law enforcement, military men and women that are, kind of need our support. And so it just kind of gives everybody an opportunity to get together and have that fun. So it was really nice to be recognized for all of that, not just in the community that I work with, but by, the Southeast region of Remax, and being nominated by the peers. It was phenomenal.
You're connecting people, brother, and you're doing great things with that. And, we're honored to be a part of that journey with you, just, here on the podcast and hearing your story. It's amazing. You touched on it a little bit, but one thing we always like to do before we close out is talk a little bit about the family. Success in business is great, but we've got to be successful in our family lives too. And it sounds to me like you've got a lot of success going on at home as well.
Yeah, I'm blessed when it comes to family, without question. I've got 3 amazing boys, ages 9, 8, and 6. Crazy to think in a couple weeks that's going to be 10, 8, and 7. I mean, it's just like happens overnight.
It does.
They're just 3 of the greatest humans around. My wife is just an unbelievable mom and support system. Vice president of our LLC with real estate, and just allows me to be available to all that I'm available to. There's a lot of times where we have the conversations of, hey, could you put your phone down? Hey, could you be around for this? Hey, and it's because of how much she allows me to get involved in that I'm like that child. You give me an inch, I'm still taking the yard, and I just keep going, and then she's there to reel it in. Like, hey, don't get involved in something else. Hey, but
Yeah.
no, it's a great work-life balance. It's one of the hardest things, I'll be honest. As a former W-2 employee who has had, set hours to work, and there were days where I'd go in on a Thursday and maybe not come home till Sunday because of overtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to go from that to being a business owner that you only get out of it what you put into it, I mean, I could sit
That's
in this
right.
office and work till midnight every day,
Yeah.
So it is a struggle, it's not easy, but, I've got an amazing family here. I just love
Well,
it.
the foundation, it's the foundation. And I got to ask you this question. If your wife was here on the podcast right now, all the stuff that she does for you, what would you say to her?
Thank you. And I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah.
I love
awesome.
that, man.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll play that back a few times.
Yeah.
Get you some score points. No, seriously though, I know you mean it, and that's why I asked. Right? At the end of the day, it's important to recognize those that get us where we are and help us, build the success that we have and the success in our family life. And a lot of the times, there's somebody behind the scenes that's making it all happen. And I think it's important to give those people recognition as well. Right?
It is. And she's listen. Make no mistake about it. She's got the hardest job out of either one of us, stay-at-home mom. And, she allows me the freedom to go out and do what I'm doing with real estate. She gives me the freedom to allow me to do what I'm doing with Smoking Shields. And with our kids, I'm not just, the spectator dad on the sidelines. Sometimes I wish I was, but, I've been coaching my kids ever since they had a baseball bat or a football in their hand, So she's the one that shows up at the Little League games, and she's got to get to know the other moms because her husband's on the field coaching, and
That's awesome, man.
She's a phenomenal human being. She's my favorite person alive.
There we go, man. I love it. I love it. And brother, you're wearing a lot of hats there, right? You're ex-police officer, current realtor, amazing father, coach, and loving husband. So, brother, again, I'm honored to have you here today. Well, as much as we'd love to keep you forever, brother, we've got to end these things at some point. So, is there anything we should have asked you today that we did not?
Man, that's a tough question to answer, man. No, I think you guys did a great job. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate the opportunity to promote this great area of Myrtle Beach, and what a great place it can be for any of your consumers or any of the podcast watchers here. Definitely put us on your to-do list. Come check us out. We've got a lot to offer, and I'll be honest, I thank God for the opportunity that you gave to get me on here, and just all these opportunities. I used to walk a foot post in the middle of the night in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and I never in a million years would have imagined, this is where I'd be today. So
I love it, man. Well, blessings, right? Blessings on blessings. So amazing stuff. Well, brother, if the people out there want to find you, and David and I think after listening to this podcast, we know they do, how are they going to get in touch with you? How do they find Keith McGurk?
Well, I mean, go ahead and Google Keith McGurk, Realtor in Myrtle Beach. I've got a Google business page. All of my contact information is there. You can call me and text me anytime on my direct cell phone, which is 843-655-1666. Visit me on any of my social media channels at Keith McGurk, at Keith Sells the Beach on Instagram, and at Keith McGurk Realtor on Facebook. And I'd love to be able to help you out.
And we'll put those down below in the comments section. So if you're trying to find him, we'll make it really, really easy on you. Well, David, anything you'd like to ask before we wrap this guy up today?
Man, you know what? Hey, thanks for being on, Keith. And if you're looking for a house in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, you're the man to go to. I mean, you've been a servant leader your entire career, your entire life. Who better to take them to the next largest purchase of their life in Myrtle Beach? You.
Yeah. And
That's
that
right.
cannot be forgotten. That cannot be forgotten. It may just be a transaction to most of us in the industry, but it's the single largest purchase or investment that person's making in their life, and that cannot be taken lightly. So you
Yes,
got to
sir.
make sure you're using a trusted pro.
Leading people and leading people well. Keith McGurk, brother, thank you so much for being on the show. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up today. So I'm Devin Dubuque.
I'm David Wynn.
And we're your real estate success partners. If you want to check us out, you can find us at realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. If you're on the podcast network, which you probably are, we're on all the major podcast channels. And if you want to check out the video version, come on over to YouTube at the Dubuque team. Again, the Dubuque team on YouTube. Please comment if you'd love to be a guest on the show. Again, make a comment and we'll reach out and set you for a pre-podcast. And make sure that you leave some reviews. And we love those 5-star reviews. So until the next time, we'll see you then.
Bye, guys.